Today we are talking about communicating with stakeholders. What do you understand by stakeholders? How many kinds of stakeholders are there? There are internal stakeholders in an organization and there are external stakeholders in an organization. So we are going to talk about both. So let us say if you work in marketing, so everybody who's within your team is your internal stakeholder. People across other teams and other departments, they are your internal stakeholders. So people who are working in other teams, somebody working in finance, somebody working in human resources, they are also your internal stakeholders. Your supervisors are your internal stakeholders. So the people that you report to, your boss, your super boss, so they are your internal stakeholders. Your peers, people at the same level that you are working, so they are also your internal stakeholders. Subordinates are your internal stakeholders. So all the people who report to you down the chain, let us say you work as a general manager. So you have many people reporting to you. You have senior managers reporting to you. You have managers reporting to you. So your team is also they are also your internal stakeholder. HR is an important internal stakeholder. So the human resources team. So you have to clear policies with HR whenever you are implementing, human resource policies for your organization. So HR is an important internal stakeholder. The legal team is a very important internal stakeholder for everybody because there are a lot of things that we need to clear through the legal team. Okay, so these are our internal stakeholders. Now talking about external stakeholders, we have client teams. So all the client teams that you engage with, they are your external stakeholders. Government regulators. Suppose you're in a business where there is a lot of government regulation. So all those regulators are also your external stakeholders. So two kinds of stakeholders, internal and external. Within the client organization, people from lending, people from investing, people from back office. So our member from the back office was a man we shall call Hank. So we are now doing a case study. Okay. So in banks, there's a lending department, there's an investing department, there's a back office department. So how does a bank make its profits? The bank will give you money at a high rate of interest. And when people deposit money with the bank pays them a low rate of interest. So this difference in the two rates of interest is the profit margin of the bank. So the bank is always happy to take everybody's money, give them a small rate of interest and lend it to entrepreneurs and other people at a higher rate of interest. So that is the business that they're in. They're in the business of money. So this company is not doing too well, your organization, and you have called, they have called your ABC team, your consulting team, and we have a person called Hank. So Hank does not want to work with your organization. He doesn't want to work with ABC. So he is, shall we say, a diamond in the rough. So he's like 6 feet 4 inches tall. He looks like a former football player, and his ties never match his shirts. He invariably has food stains on his suit coat. So he's a big, strong, burly guy. He knows his area of the bank inside out, and probably is as smart as any member of your team. Now he doesn't want to work with you. He doesn't want to work with ABC company. He thinks that you peddle an expensive line of baloney to credulous clients, and you leave employees to clean up afterwards. So he's not very happy with the kind of consulting services that your ABC organization provides, and he doesn't want to engage with you. Okay, so how would you now handle a Hank? He does not want to be on the client team. So the clients have nominated him to be on the team. He doesn't want to be on the team. He always says during meetings, he's got real work to do. He doesn't have time to sit in meetings with you. You are the consulting guys who've gone in, and you've been told by this bank to help them improve their profit margin. That is your task. So his supervisor had still assigned him to the team. So he showed up every day, and he stubbornly refuses to cooperate or to contribute. So he is like an obstinate mule. He digs his heels in and he says, I am not going to work with ABC. So as a first and easiest tactic, you can try to trade this liability Hank out of your team and get somebody better. So you can just sidestep him, reach out to the client organization, say this guy isn't really contributing. Can you replace him? That is the easy way out. It may not always work. So there might be no one available and you're stuck with Hank. So the company might say, no, we don't have anybody else to spare. You have to work with Hank. You can try to work around him. You can give him a discrete section of the work that he can do. So you can divide that task into small pieces and give him some discrete work that he can do and basically get him out of harm's way. Make sure it is neither critical to the project because he will sink the project, nor is it impossible for anyone else on the team. So if tomorrow he doesn't do his work, you can give it to somebody else on the team. And you can tell him that I gave you an opportunity, you didn't contribute, now somebody else is contributing. So you will have to rely on the other members of the team to pick up the slack. So the slack that Hank is creating will have to be picked up by other members of the team. So at times, your communication solution might be something structural. It might be something even more than communication, where you use, managerial skills to handle a communication roadblock or a communication deadlock. Now there's another guy, his name is Carlos. So Hank was still better than Carlos. Now this guy is a super slick operator. He has a BA from Oxford. He's got an MBA from Harvard. So he's from Argentina, basically, in a multinational organization. And Carlos is the leader of the client team. And he is your company's main liaison with the most senior management with the client organization. He's also a saboteur. Comes and tries to damage the work that you're doing. So he has the patronage of a certain faction of the board within the client company that does not want ABC to be there. So which stakeholders does your solution impact? So for instance, suppose you tell your board of directors that they can boost profitability by reorganization and doing a reorganizing project with the sales force as per ABC's worked out solution and streamlining the production process as per your detailed analysis. Your argument is very good. Now the board ratifies your suggestion and there's a celebration. So one hit remains. What does the sales force, what do the production line workers think about all this? Because you're talking about reorganizing the sales force. You're talking about reorganizing production line. So people who will get impacted down the line, what do they think? It is important to communicate to them. Otherwise, it will remain a top level solution. It will not go down to the level where the rubber will meet the road and it will have a real impact. Because if they do not like your ideas, there will be resistance. If there is resistance, then your solution might not be optimally implemented. So if it's not implemented, then your communication has failed. Because at the end of the day, you want implementation to happen, you want results. Your solution might end up on the great remainder shelf of business, where such a meticulously worked out and analyzed solution certainly does not belong. It deserves to be implemented in the organization and for it to have a bottom line impact. You need to communicate the solution. To avoid this debate, you must effectively communicate your solution to every level of the organization, from the board down to those who will actually own the solution and implement the same in the real world of business. This is where the rubber will meet the road. So when we create a tire, we produce a tire, an excellent tire, but when the rubber meets those potholes of Gurgaon and Bombay is when we see how good the tire is, how good the rubber is. Does it get worn off in a few thousand kilometers or does it last for a long time? Solutions crafted by the intellectuals of ABC will need to demonstrate their robustness in the real life of the marketplace with its dynamics and its vicissitudes, its ups and downs. So if something can go wrong in the world of business, it will go wrong. Yeah. So when things go wrong, that is when you have to see how robust your solution is. Because it is not a solution to keep in a museum. It is a solution that you will implement in the marketplace. You have to do serial presentations. So we are going to train you on presentation skills. After you present it to the board, present to senior management, present to mid-level managers, they will have day-to-day responsibility for implementation. So let them know what is going on. What is the change that you propose? Do not neglect the people on the line either. They can make or break your solution. If they feel that this is not a solution that they buy into, they will not implement it. So the changes that you recommend may have the greatest effect on them. So their buy-in is vital to successful implementation. Finally, serial presentations give the junior members of your team a good opportunity to hone their presentation skills.